The Young Sheldon spinoff discussed a number of topics in passing during First Marriage Season 1, but the Georgie and Mandy's First Marriage Season 1 finale masterfully set up the next Season 2 by leaving certain important questions unresolved and allowing a group of storylines to eventually be tackled. In Georgie and Mandy's First Marriage Season 1, episodes 21 and 22, two significant events propelled the plot. Feigenbachers offered to purchase McAllister Auto and Tires from Jim, who took the offer seriously, and Mandy's promotion to full-time weather girl, which also disclosed that she had worked for months with her ex-boyfriend Scott. The Young Sheldon spinoff discussed a number of topics in passing during First Marriage Season 1, but the Georgie and Mandy's First Marriage Season 1 finale masterfully set up the next Season 2 by leaving certain important questions unresolved and allowing a group of storylines to eventually be tackled. In Georgie and Mandy's First Marriage Season 1, episodes 21 and 22, two significant events propelled the plot. Feigenbachers offered to purchase McAllister Auto and Tires from Jim, who took the offer seriously, and Mandy's promotion to full-time weather girl, which also disclosed that she had worked for months with her ex-boyfriend Scott. Since the McAllisters and Coopers are at the center of both developments, the majority of the unresolved issues naturally relate to where those plot lines left all of the characters from Georgie and Mandy's first marriage following the conclusion of Season 1. The overall plot of Georgie and Mandy's First Marriage Season 1 also greatly impacted the show's remaining mysteries, particularly with regard to the Young Sheldon characters who have either already or have not yet made an appearance. Based on what Young Sheldon and The Big Bang Theory created in First Marriage Season 1, Georgie and Mandy's First Marriage Season 2 now has a number of storylines to explore. In The Big Bang Theory Season 11, Episode 23, older Georgie was introduced as a prosperous businessman to everyone but Sheldon, who still only saw him as the older brother who teased him. In that case, Dr. Tire was depicted as Georgie's tire chain that spread throughout Texas, but neither Young Sheldon nor The Big Bang Theory ever explained how Georgie got there. Given that there is no further information available, Georgie and Ruben's purchase of McAllister Auto and Tires from Jim at the conclusion of Georgie and Mandy's First Marriage Season may first very well be the beginning of his corporate empire. But Georgie and Ruben's business endeavor might also be merely a springboard, with Georgie eventually developing Dr. Tire on his own after gaining experience with McAllister Auto and Tires. Although viewers and Georgie were aware of the guy Mandy worked with, Scott only made an unexpected debut in the Season 1 finale of Georgie and Mandy's First Marriage. It could have sounded especially evasive for Mandy to keep from everyone that she had been working with Scott in Medford for months, even though she did so intermittently, but their interactions made her lies much more concerning. In fact, even though Mandy insisted that she and Scott had nothing in common and that she wouldn't endanger their marriage or their family, their conversation regarding his fiancée, not knowing anything about her at the end of Georgie and Mandy's First Marriage Season 1 was strange and far too hastily glossed over. When Mandy and Scott see each other frequently in First Marriage Season 2, it becomes even more complex because of their awkward encounters and the possibility that they lied about it. In addition to being the location of many of Jim and Georgie's special moments together, McAllister Auto and Tires is also very significant to the McAllisters, especially Jim, who frequently resisted Georgie's attempts to update it in Georgie and Mandy's First Marriage Season 1. Jim never mentioned working towards selling the store and retiring, thus his sudden consideration of doing so in the First Marriage Season 1 finale was unexpected. The fact that Jim spends the most of Season 1 at the car shop also begs the important question of what he will do with his time in Season 2 of Georgie and Mandy's First Marriage. Bickering was, after all, very prevalent during the rare occasions Audrey and Jim spent the holidays together at home. First Marriage Season 2 will have to figure out what Jim will do with his time, as his retirement would undoubtedly alter the McAllisters' newfound stability. The First Marriage Season 1 finale demonstrated that Mandy and Georgie constantly turn to the same kind of recriminations when they are in a tight spot, regardless of the subject of their argument. In fact, Georgie used Mandy's credit card debt against Mandy after she questioned him about his intention to purchase McAllister Tires, and their argument after Mandy revealed the truth about Scott being her boss once more led her to label him juvenile. In the first season of First Marriage, Georgie and Mandy justified their age difference to others, but the fact that it comes up again in every argument suggests that they don't really accept it. Since Georgie and Mandy have been at odds since Young Sheldon, we already know from the title and Big Bang Theory that they will eventually part ways, but hopefully for a different reason. In Georgie and Mandy's First Marriage Season 1, Episode 11, Fred Feigenbacher was introduced as a thorn in Jim's side because of their past relationship with Audrey and Georgie's brief employment with him. His offer to purchase McAllister Tires was, to put it mildly, unexpected. Given his promises to force Georgie and Ruben out of business, Feigenbacher's response to their purchase of the store instead is even more perplexing. The reason behind Feigenbacher's desire to purchase Jim's car dealership at this time was already unclear, but the fact that he took the decision so personally suggests that he had a valid cause, or at the very least, a strong suspicion that Georgie and Ruben could pose a threat to his business. The second season of Georgie and Mandy's First Marriage should clarify why Feigenbacher is so determined to defeat Georgie and Ruben and what he will do to do so. During her multiple appearances in Georgie and Mandy's First Marriage Season 1, Missy only displayed her rebellious side. Missy's dumb teenager period was previously established by The Big Bang Theory and Young Sheldon as occurring following George Sr.'s passing, but First Marriage Season 1's lack of Missy's point of view makes its portrayal of her especially unjust. Based on what happened in Season 1, Missy will probably make a comeback in Season 2 of Georgie and Mandy's First Marriage. The second season of the Young Sheldon spinoff will have to answer the question of whether Missy will act differently or if more information about her thoughts will be provided. One of Georgie and Mandy's First Marriage Season 1's greatest finds is Connor, who helped to lighten the tone amid the most trying arguments and, all things considered, brought a welcome quirk to the McAllisters' everyday troubles. One of the things to look forward to more excitedly is their return in First Marriage Season 2, as Connor's connection with Chloe only served to further develop his character. Chloe's relationship with Connor could not have been more prominent since she made her debut in Georgie and Mandy's First Marriage Season 1, Episode 15. Even though the First Marriage Season 1 conclusion gave no clues about the status of Connor and Chloe's relationship, hopefully Georgie and Mandy's First Marriage Season 2 will bring them back together and give them more challenges to overcome so they may emerge stronger. Sheldon was the most notable omission from Georgie and Mandy's First Marriage Season 1, as the socially awkward genius had been the subject of both Young Sheldon and The Big Bang Theory. The emphasis on Georgie and Mandy's existence in Texas and Sheldon's relocation to California in Georgie and Mandy's First Marriage provides a valid explanation for his absence and allows the spin-off to establish itself without him taking center stage. Sheldon's absence is turning out to be one of the main mysteries of Georgie and Mandy's First Marriage, though, as many of the main and supporting characters from Young Sheldon return in Season 1, including George Sr. despite his passing. Although the Young Sheldon spin-off demonstrated that it can function without the socially awkward genius's presence, it would still be beneficial to have him, particularly considering how long it has been since Sheldon was last seen. Missy, Mary, Meemaw, and Dale had more appearances than anybody else in Georgie and Mandy's First Marriage Season 1, but it also managed to include Pastor Jeff, Coach Wilkins, Miss Hutchins, and even George Cooper Sr. in the guise of Georgie's illness-related nightmares. The Coopers are most likely to make a comeback as regular guest stars in Season 2 of Georgie and Mandy's First Marriage. Mary's greater appearance in Georgie and Mandy's First Marriage Season 2 would also be justified by the First Marriage Season 1 finale, in which she gave her house as collateral to obtain Georgie a loan for McAllister Tires. Mary's return would be assured just based on this. The Coopers are by far the most likely Young Sheldon characters to make a comeback in Georgie and Mandy's First Marriage Season 2, although Missy's disobedient nature might also make a Principal Peterson cameo work. Remember to like, share, and subscribe to my channel for more videos.